Yes, I am recording. Hello. For whomever this video is, so whoever is watching, I want to bring you a case study again. Isn't that fun? So I have something to rant about. If you have seen my previous videos on flood prevention, water conservation, the destruction of ecosystems and habitats for animals and plant life, and also for humans, of course. You know that I love to dive into projects such as this and talk about everything that would be my advice on projects that are running or are built for flood prevention. So one of my lovely clients, she brought me a case from her municipality this morning. And the images are quite shocking for a soil specialist. So it would be advisable, I think, to introduce myself a little bit. My name is Marjolein Schuit. I am a regenerative landscape consultant. So I dive into projects such as this for municipalities, for example, or also freelance companies who hire me to be the brain in their back pocket. So if they have questions about soil or need strategy, they need a project plan, and they need soil restoration, I come on board and be in their back pocket so they can reach me whenever they like, to improve projects such as this. And here is why. So what I've seen happening in municipalities when we talk about flood prevention projects, I often see a whole lot of silo thinking. So what I mean by that is that there is a project, they need an architect for it. So they hire an architect without really actually knowing what the problem is in the first place. And that stems from, and I really understand this, but it stems from, this is my specialty, this is my expertise, this is his specialty or her specialty. So we need to find a person that looks like something that we need to fix. But if you don't know, or don't have a broader view about the functioning of ecosystems, and you're not aware of soil restoration and soil problems, you are not aware of what you're actually looking for and who the specialists should be on your team. So my background is in regenerative agriculture, permaculture, and I've been trained by people such as Dr. Vandana Shiva, Jeff Lawton, Dr. Elaine Ingram, Alan Savroy on holistic management. So I know a quite big of a deal about soil restoration fitting within the realm of restoration of ecosystems. And what I know is a whole lot about plants, biodiversity, animal integration, how to create healthy and balancing ecosystems. So if you don't know that you need me, you won't be looking for me. And that's why I make these kind of case studies to show municipalities what they're lacking in their teams is someone who has a way broader view about ecosystems than just someone who fixes themselves on water or is a specialist in landscape architecture. Then you're probably missing something. So here is an interesting case. And the images for a soil specialist are quite shocking. So we're talking about the municipality of Schagen. One of my clients is from Schagen, and she brought me these kind of images. And she pointed out that she often walks with her son in this new playing field. So when I do this research, it's built in 2014. So a new kind of play area for kids, really nice area. She lives in a really beautiful place. And I know for a fact that gemeente Schagen is really keen on flood prevention, on restoration of ecosystems. So they recently started a new project in another area, another neighborhood, of integrating more biodiversity within their municipality planting areas. Fantastic. And they also arranged for like a bee and butterfly garden in that same area. I think it's called like water. Now I don't know the name of the area. So I know that gemeente Schagen is really taking biodiversity very serious and restoration of ecosystems. And we all know the problems with bees, for example. So since the 1970s, we lost 75% of our solitary bee species. And just in short, if you don't know what the problem is with that, if we don't have any solitary bees, we don't have cross-pollinating or pollinating of our fruits and vegetables. I like to eat. I think you like to eat too. And it's also a necessity for humans to have a well-balanced, biodiverse platter. We cannot only survive on corn, for example, which is, it's very unhealthy. But that's the path that we're steering towards to. So we will be humans in a couple of maybe 50 years. We will be humans that only eat corn. It's not very good for your intestines. So wonderful. They made a butterfly and bee garden. Amazing. So I know they take these kind of projects seriously. Now we're looking at this region. So I pulled up a map for you just to give you an overview of what we're talking about. So Schagen is quite close to the ocean as well. So for any of you who don't know, 60% of the Netherlands will become underwater if we don't do flood prevention projects correctly. And I see a whole lot of cutting corners in flood prevention projects. It is as if we're waiting to be underwater with projects such as this. And this is actually part of a flood prevention project. And I know that cities that live quite close to the ocean should take flood prevention more serious than they're doing now. And that is also a case. Like, if you don't know what you're looking for, you don't know what you need. Recently, I had a call with the gemeente Middelburg. I live in Middelburg. It's also quite close to the ocean. And they just didn't know that a specialty such as mine exists within a holistic lens. That's what you need to understand. So I have this full understanding of the ecosystem, not just soil, but the full understanding of it and the functionalities. Now we're looking at this street, Gebroeders Plukkersstraat. Gebroeders Plukkersstraat. So there is, and it's the region, the living area, like the the community of Muggenburg. That's what we're talking about. There is a nice playground somewhere here, loads of water. You see, gemeente Schagen is like also Schagen itself. It's filled with water. And if we zoom out, so we're talking about this area right here. I'm going to show you some pictures later on. If we zoom out on the map, you see there's Schagen. There is the ocean. You see, it's quite close. That's worrisome. So municipalities that are this close to the ocean should take flood prevention serious. And I'm sure that they are, but there are some improvements on projects such as this. So you see how much water there actually is in this city. That's quite a lot of water. It's very beautiful, but it's also, if something floods, that is a serious cause for panic because there's so much water in that environment. Now, let's do a new share, shall we? I have some pictures for you. I'm gonna move this one up. Now you see, I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger so we're not distracted by anything else. And I really want to talk you through the images that we're seeing. So this is more or less Gebroeders Plukstraat the region of Muggenburg, where this project is. And this is what we're seeing. Now, it looks like a lovely park for pedestrians. So you can walk here, there's a play area. And if you're living in this area, you might perceive it as a nice green area. As regenerative landscape consultant, this is worrying to me. My client told me, and she's very aware of ornamental plant varieties. She's also one of my trainees, and she has a green account where she shares amazing articles about nature and ornamental plants. And her account is called Om de Tuin Leiden. Her name is Marleen de Ruiter, and she brought these images to me. Now she is aware, and she told me, hey, Marjolein, there is something wrong with this picture. There is only one type of shrub, well, two types of shrubs being planted, but not the best pick for an environment that is has concerns around water, wants to restore ecosystems, is very aware of the necessity of green in their environment, because that's what they're proud of, gemeente Schagen. They're really proud of their water and green. I mean, they're planting bee gardens, so they should be very aware that green life is important to us, and animal integration and all these things. Now, there we see two types of shrubs. There's an ilex, and there is something else. We cannot know for sure what it is, but it's some type of standard shrub for what they use in landscaping for municipalities. Something standard, we're not quite sure, but there are two shrubs, and there is some grass right here, and this is a water area. Now, this area has been redone in 2014. I'm thinking, what would it used to look like? What if we would have left this park or this green area fallow? I know for a fact that my client is looking over a whole lot of fallow landscapes. Used to be farmland, I think, and it still is, like in the further distance. And she looks at a huge diversity of wildlife. I follow her quite closely on Instagram as well, so she sees rabbits, all kinds of geese, other type of birds. Her whole neighborhood is filled with all type of different birds. She has water in the back of her house, very broad stream. She has like pond lilies and all kinds of amazing variety. There's ducks, there is frogs, there's everything, fishes. So it's very rich, a very rich ecosystem. And this is like maybe 5 minutes from this area here. Now, you have to understand that animals, they have to feel secure and safe. And I cannot speak for an animal because I'm a human, but I'm also some sort of an animal. But I walk on 2 legs and not 4, and I don't have flippers. I cannot swim that well. But whether you are a duck, frog, any type of other bird, or you're a fish, you need some sort of security to feel safe in an ecosystem, to lay your eggs and hunt for snails, which we all like. I like them to eat all the snails, and do all the things that animals like to do. And as you see here, there's nothing for these animals to hide in. They cannot lay their nests, and if you are a proud municipality, such as Schagen is, you want animals feel safe because you enjoy watching animals. There's a whole lot of families living in this area, so it's amazing for kids to watch animals and learn something from it. And you should be proud as a municipality on the biodiversity of green green variety, but also a whole lot of biodiversity on animals. Now, as you can see here, there's nothing much to do for animals. And also, it's very sad. Um, this as a soil, one of the trainings that I followed is soil advocacy from Kiss the Ground. It's an organization, you can look it up, very well known in soil restoration projects and advocacy. What we see here is very concerning when it comes to soil life. We see all kinds of bare patches here. We see a full riverbank that is completely bare. There's like a few dots of grass, but there's no plantation whatsoever. There's no plant life, no green life, no diversity, which diversity is very important for our soil health. And I talk a little bit more later on why that is so important. We also see, we call it a dike, a little bit quite small. So you can look in the distance from this place, very nice. And there we see all these like bald spots in the landscape. That is very concerning to me. Then this is the other shocking image. I'm very concerned how dry this landscape looks. It's very concerning. This is a landscape that cannot maintain water. It just cannot absorb water like this. In this condition, this water will run off. And I told you in the beginning that this city is very close to the ocean. So what if a flood comes and the dikes are not able to hold that water? What if there's like an extreme weather? And we see a lot of extreme weather patterns. So you cannot come to me and say like, oh, Marjolein, that's not happening in our region. It won't happen for us. We have a whole lot of extreme weathers over the last years, like 10 years or so, extreme weather patterns, unexpected things happening. So you don't want a city that is in a flood prone area. You don't want soil that cannot hold water. It cannot absorb water like this. You don't want soil that is in danger of erosion or already eroding. This is already an area that's eroding. So that means that either wind or water takes away all that soil. And soil works like a container. Soil can store water in itself. We don't need anything like mechanical to do that. That is a falsified thinking that we need some sort of human invention to hold that water in the soil. No, soil can do that from itself. It's a natural ability that the soil has once it's restored. This is important. So that is not us humans fixing the environment. It is us making sure that the soil have the right conditions for the soil to restore and regenerate itself. This is the problem with humans trying to fix nature. We do it in this way. We think as long as the grass is short and there's not much growing there, the soil will have more aeration. False. It's not true. This soil is drought. It's causing drought in this area. So what's needed, you might ask? Well, first of all, diversity of plants. We hardly see any plant life here. And it's actually the plant in combination with the soil, that's what soil is made of. And it's not only silt and clay particles and sand particles, it's also the biology of the soil that holds this water in combination. So in symbiosis, we call that, in symbiosis with plant varieties. I don't see any symbiosis happening here. I don't know about you, but if you're not an expert, you see that this is just a dry landscape. And we can fix that. It's not really a problem. It's not that hard. It's not that difficult. Wait. It is not hard and difficult, but you need an expert to make a plan suited for this landscape. So every landscape is different. Whether I come to Limburg, Middelburg, Schagen, Groningen, every landscape needs a different type of soil assessment and soil plan. And that's where I come in as a back pocket for bigger projects. I am the back pocket. I'm the expert that you can call and say like, hey, Marjolein, we are concerned about our water. What should we do? That's my job. So this is another view of this park. Yeah, concerning, right? And you see some sort of water prevention thing happening here. It's mechanical. I think it is, what's the English word for it? A floodgate. I think that's what we're seeing here. You see a pipe. So what they're trying to do is storing the water in like a deeper kind of valley. So more like a pond. It's brilliant. It's very good thinking. But you also want the water to, the soil hold that water as well. So my preferred method, and this is what I see in landscapes such as this, people that live in Schagen or in a similar city, you might live in a different city and you recognize this kind of landscape. Here's what you can do. You can test the soil yourself. Whenever there's a heavy rainfall, I want you to pay attention to the landscape. How long does it take before that water is infiltrated in the soil? I just want you to pay attention. Is that a couple of hours? Is that 24 hours? 48 hours? I talked with Middelburg and they said, well, it can last a few days before the rain is infiltrated in the soil. And I said, that's not right. But what is the bare minimum? The bare minimum should be 0.40 seconds before that water is infiltrated. That is the bare minimum in flood prone areas. 0.40 seconds, not 48 hours. 48 hours means houses are gone. People have to evacuate. That is 48 hours in a flood prone area. I don't want to see these kind of projects happening anymore in the Netherlands. It's just waste of money. I mean, these kind of parks can cost up to 4 million to make when they are like designed and integrated and plans and workers and all these kind of things. Can be up to 4 million. Maybe it's less in this area, which is good. But as a municipality, you want to save money. You want to hire the experts up front that know how to restore flood-prone areas. You cannot cut corners in projects such as this and then waste, maybe it's 1 million, maybe waste 1 million on a project such as this. I need to come in and then I need to fix it. That is my job. That's when I come in. I'm fixing these kind of projects. Now, there's also, this is what the shrubs, so they planted new shrubs. You see that this plant, this ilex, has drought symptoms. That's drought symptoms. Any type of person can see that this plant, we might attach a human word to it, is thirsty. You see? It's all brown leaves. And why is that plant thirsty? It is because the roots cannot dig deep into the aquifers, so the underlying water resources. I'm even wondering if there are some aquifers left in this area. So there is, of course, that nice kind of pond situation, but that plant needs to uptake water itself. Yeah, cannot do that because that soil around here is bare bone dry. You even see some algae formation already happening on the soil. And algae formation is the last signal before that soil is sterile. Algae is the last kind of stage, and we call that capping of the soil. And it is very hard if you're not an expert in soil restoration. It is very hard to restore that yourself. You have no idea how to tackle projects such as this. Lucky for you, I know how to do this, but algae on soil is very concerning. That is the last stage before soil becomes infertile. Before it has, that means that there's no life left. And the soil is then capped with this algae layer. Okay, this is what I wanted to bring to you today, this kind of project. Now, here is my request for you. If you see this video, and if you are someone who has power within the municipality of Schagen to make change happen with flood prevention projects, and you have an inkling of a feeling that I am your person, and you think, hey, if we want to do this right, we should ask Marjolein to advise us on projects such as this, whether it's restoration of this kind of project, or that I'm just in your back pocket whenever you need me. I want you to connect me with the people who control budgeting. That is important to me. You need to have a budget to work with me. Because here's the thing, if you hire me as the consultant in your back pocket, you will save money on projects such as this, because now we have to redo it. And you don't want to redo it. You don't want to be that guy or girl who invented this amazing project and were super proud of the designs, and then you executed it and you actually see that it's not functioning the way you thought it would be. You don't want to be that person who fucks up. You just don't, because you are proud of your job and you love the environment and nature, and you're super proud of park life, and you're part of the park and recreation department, and you really feel that you can make a difference with your designs and your projects. But you constantly find that whatever you do, you tend to have situations such as this that we're seeing here. And I understand you are missing key parts of information. And I hold all these keys to make your project successful. And you want to be that person who has successful projects. I know you're proud of your work. So this is what you need to do. You need to find the budget to have me in your back pocket. That is your job. You need to find a budget to work with me so that you consult with me on your projects so that it becomes successful right away. And that you're not wasting $1 million, 4 million. I've seen projects for 7 million and they're not complete. They're just not functioning in the right way. So this is what you do. You can hop on a call with me. I want you to connect with me via a private message or send me an email. I will leave my details somewhere for you to find it. And then we need to discuss projects such as this. And I'm going to give you a free assessment. Sorry, a free assessment. I'm your asset. Free assessment on your project. And then I'm going to tell you how I can be in your back pocket as a consultant. Because now you've seen this video and you know that I am the person that was missing in your project team, in your execution team as well. So that is what we need to do. I want you to feel proud of your landscaping projects, and I am that missing key in your team. And if you are a person who has a whole lot of contacts, so what if you have a big network, you work on projects such as this, and you can connect me with someone who controls the money, who has a budget, and can give a go for me being hired in your teams. I want you to connect me with that kind of person as well, those kind of persons, so that we can move projects faster along than the rate that we're seeing in municipalities. So municipalities take a long time for paperwork to be moved from one person to the other. I just want you to be successful. So connect me to that person as well who controls the budgets, and let us be successful in the Netherlands with flood prevention projects. Let your city be an example of the rest of the Netherlands, how we deal with a country that will be 60% underwater if we don't take any action. And if you live, that's the third request that I have. If you live in a city and you recognize these kind of landscapes, and you think after seeing this video, hey, I want Marjolein to talk over images from my city as well, and have Marjolein send out these kind of rant videos to the right person, I want you to send me videos and images, and maybe a sign that says, these kind of people worked on this project and this is where the budget came from, blah, 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 blah. This is the funding. I want you to send me these kind of pictures, because as you can see, I can tell from a landscape in which stage is in and what needs to happen next. And I want to be the person who stands up for your community and says, enough is enough. We need to do this right. We need to fix the areas that can prevent your house from being underwater. Because this is the difference. If I am in the back pocket of projects such as this, I can make sure that your house won't be underwater, because that is the outcome of projects that are not done correctly. Okay, these 3 requests I have. Please connect me to the right persons or send me images, either way. And make sure that I also know which city is it in, which area is it in, who are the funders. That is important information for me to know. If you can bring me the architect, also super helpful information. Maybe the budget even, if you can find it out for me, what the budget was for these kind of projects. It really helps me to move the needle along, and then I make sure that it ends up in the right kind of inbox. All right, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.